I was just cruising the internet the other day and I came up with something on Yahoo's webpage, which all this is coming from Yahoo. It is the 15 worst names for a car, which I thought this would be probably a pretty good subject matter for sort of one of those vlogs or whatever people do these days. So I'm going to tell you the 15 cars, show you a picture of the cars, and discuss the cars a little bit, and mostly the naming. So here we are. The first one is the Suzuki Cappuchino. The car itself is not a bad car. I mean, it looks very sleek, it's very stylish for, what year was it? 1991 though, so this car came out in 1991, which is about the same time as the Enos Roadster, the Mazda MX-5 or whatever it's called here in America, came out. Obviously there's a long history of very good roadster cars. MG, for example, TVR, TVR, the Cerberus is, not the Cerberus, I can't think of the name of it, but TVR had a really good roadster for a while. Triumph obviously had good roadsters. Austin Healey, good roadsters. Just AC, I mean the names just go on and on and on. So having a roadster car is not a bad thing, and in particular this roadster does not look bad. It's sort of, I think it could do with a larger bonnet, because the bonnet just sort of stops, it just sort of wheels, that's it. And to me that's only the real detractable part about this car. But the name Cappuchino, it's just, it's not a good name for a car in general, nonetheless a roadster. I don't know what size engine this has, I don't know what drivetrain it has, I don't know anything about the car, I've only looked at the picture. But it looks like it should have a more sport-inspired name, something, you know, like a Stinger or, you know, Scorpion, something like that, not Cappuccino. Yeah, just name a car off a top of coffee, that's just stupid. No wonder Suzukis are such bad vehicles. Well, that's a perfect example of what Suzuki makes in a car. First of all, you've got a Suzuki Cappuchino and the Suzuki Swift. Have you ever seen a Swift? They are not Swift at all. That's the worst name you could give a car, is the Swift, when it has a 3-cylinder engine in it. It's not fast, so why call it a Swift? But I've sort of gone on about the Cappuchino, so we'll move on to number 2. That's going to be a Mazda. So I sort of see a bit of a trend here. Apparently they're all going to be Japanese cars. So let's brace yourselves. This is the Mazda Bongo Friendee, and it's basically a giant camper van. As a whole, it's very typical of one of those vans that you would find in Japan. You know, if you ever watch the underground sort of Japanese films with the Bosuzoku and all those group of people that heavily modify their cars, this seems like one of those vans that they would have, that, you know, they've got a big Mirage on the back, that's an homage to some random Japanese actress. It's got all the lights on it, it's got, you know, 17 subwoofers in the back, big rims, lowered to the ground, huge spoilers on it, even though it's a van, and that's sort of the whole Japanese culture. And this van really looks like it would fit into that. And all in all, it's not a completely unappealing van. It's very square, it's very boxy, so definitely the 1990s, late 80s, early 90s when this car came out, 1995 apparently. And all in all, it's not that bad looking. I'm sure it's underpowered, being that's a Mazda. And 2, I don't know what this ghastly thing that lifts up is. I haven't a clue what that is. I don't know if there's like a base inside there. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to stand up. I don't know. But yeah, that's, and in terms of things, the name Bongo Friendee. Sometimes I find that Japanese car companies, they probably have a really cool name in Japan, but when it comes over to an English-speaking world, they just don't translate well, and I think this is one of them, because Bongo Friendee just sounds like a horrid idea of a name for anything. Bongo, okay, that's the sort of drum, and Friendee, I don't know, I really don't know. This is number 3, which has to be my favourite, the one I hate the most, and it is the Daihatsu Naked. Now Daihatsu has a reputation for just making absolute shit. I'm not trying to discern people from buying Daihatsus, but every Daihatsu I've ever seen has been a piece of mess, just rubbish, cobbled together mess. And so to name one the Daihatsu Naked, it's just really, to me, it just culminates everything, because the names really describe what the cars are. For example, the Daihatsu Charade, yes? Everyone's seen its little tiny car, and it is a charade. It's not even a car. It is a box with 4 wheels attached to it, probably a milk crate for a seat, you know, an old rim from a car attached to a steering shaft to drive it. And the best thing is when you pop the bonnet, yeah? There isn't even an engine. No, it's about 4 different hamsters on their little hamster wheels, just running at full speed, just trying in desperation to crank the wheels over. They're horrid cars. They don't even count to me as cars. And so for Daihatsu to come out with this, the Naked, to me it is a culmination of everything I hate about the car company. First of all, the car seems to be just ready to fall apart at any point. It looks like it's got the doors that you know, the Toyota Land Cruisers and the old Land Rovers and the Jeeps have, that you could just literally pull the door up off the hinge and throw it away because you don't need it. The fenders are attached with rivets or maybe screws. The bonnet just, I mean, it's like this big. It's like the top of your toilet bowl. It's just doesn't even matter. This car looks to me as if you had a spanner and a screwdriver, you could take it apart in 15 minutes time. And that to me is not a good basis for a car. Second of all, to call it naked, that's really what the car is. It has nothing on it. There's probably no features inside. You get inside the car, yeah, you close the door, you sit there at the steering wheel, and there's probably not even a key for the ignition. There's probably not even a knob on the gear lever. It's probably just a shaft. You know, the clutch pedal has no rubber over it, so it's just a piece of metal. And it's just, there's probably not even an interior. It's probably, like I said, you sit on a milk crate. And I don't know, I've never seen one of these cars, I've never sat in one of these cars, but that's the impression I get just from the name. And to be honest, I think I'm probably right about it. Number 4. Ford Pinto. I don't know a whole great deal about American cars, especially not this particular car, but I've heard horror stories. Apparently the biggest reason why this one is on this is because apparently in Portuguese, Pinto is slang for your male member. I don't really think that they're that bad looking of a car. They definitely could be better, but they're not horrid. I mean, it looks to me like a 70s car. That's really all I can say about it. And I really don't know nothing about the name Pinto, so for me that one doesn't necessarily need to be on this list. Number 5 is the Mitsubishi Carisma. All in all, it's not a bad looking car, I have to say, it's really not. There's only one part about this car that I don't like, and that's on the bonnet, where the bonnet comes down to meet the front bumper and it's got the emblem. I don't like that part. They probably could have just, cut the bonnet straight across and done a tad bit better with that. So that's the only thing about this car I don't like. But Mitsubishi has this fascination with choosing horrid names for cars. Prime example, Mitsubishi Carisma. As you don't name a car something charismatic. You've got the Mitsubishi Mirage, which is a small little car. And yeah, it is a Mirage of itself. It's not a good car. You've got the Mitsubishi Eclipse. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be eclipsing. Perhaps a decent car. I don't know. The Montero, I haven't a clue what a Montero is. I don't know. And my favourite, absolute favourite, is the Starion.